obligated to pay their own costs in bringing a complaint.
I don't know that there's anything in existing statutes which speaks to that question. What I'm saying there is that I don't know whether there's anything in the statutes of the state of Utah that addresses your question. I can tell you what I learned from going through the ethics complaints that were filed last fall. And in those instances, the state paid for the per diem for all of the legislators who sat on the committees and heard the evidence and deliberated and made their decisions. So that bill was footed by the state. The Legislative General Council, which is the set of attorneys who represent under, and this is by statute, the legislature, both houses of the legislature, all the committees in the legislature, all the legislators individually. That staff of attorneys, wearing many different hats, represented the legislature, the leadership in the House, the committee, Republicans and Democrats, and it could have been assigned counsel to represent the accused legislators. It did represent legislators who were called as witnesses at those hearings. And so all of that expense was paid for by the state. And one of the accused legislators decided that he would hire his own counsel. And it was a private outside firm. And that bill became somewhat large, and so he held the fundraiser or whatever it was at the Alta Club. Our bill has attempted to be frugal in terms of the cost of ethics administration at the state capitol. Our commissioners serve without salary. They will serve on a per diem basis only. The staff will be salaried, but we have made provision for volunteer labor. We have made provision that the commission itself can call upon existing adjuncts in service to the legislature to get work done. So the staff of the commission can ask legislative general counsel to help for research, etc. They can ask the legislative auditor. They can ask the legislative fiscal analyst. So we have tried to use existing mechanisms with existing budgets in an effort to save costs. And we have quite a low fiscal note as a result. We don't think that this will cost the state of Utah a lot of money. One thing that you don't see with this kind of process that we'd like the public to be aware of, and that is there are studies that take a look empirically at whether states save money when legislators and other public servants adhere to ethical standards. And as you might intuitively expect, there is money saved because you weed out the conflicts and the self-dealing and say the legislator who has a brother-in-law who has land he wants to sell to the state or whatever. And so through those cost savings of ethics administration, there's money saved and intangible costs avoided, which probably should be factored into the cost issue, if that's an issue for people here. One other cost that goes unnoticed is the more respect for lawmakers declines, the less people feel that they want to obey the law passed by those lawmakers. So how they do it, they get away with it. Everybody does it. Everybody gets away with it. They can shake the truth they can live with a conflict, they can self-deal, they can be unethical. All right, I can too. And so people start resisting or disobeying the law, and in that, there are hidden costs. And costs of law enforcement in light of that resistance go up. And that's another byproduct of unethical government, which we think will be remedied by our bill. We hope it will be. And please, when you're thinking what this costs, some people are calling it another layer of bureaucracy. It's hardly that. But think of the other side of the coin too. The money that can be saved if we live ethically. Businesses know this. Businesses know this. They know that when fiduciaries self-deal and play favorites and don't get the best deal as a result, they lose money. And our government should be aware of that too.
Do we have anybody else that would like to ask any questions? Going once?
I want to make a comment.
You want to make a comment before we close this meeting? Go ahead.
Well, I noticed that we have some young people in the audience, and I wanted to just appreciate your attendance and say that if you're not 18 yet, or are there 18-year-olds among you? Well, I hope that you will vote. You know, I think I mentioned the Governor's Commission on Strengthening Democracy, which is also meeting and holding a series of meetings, and they're making recommendations to the governor. And part of what they're doing is trying to figure out why so many people in Utah aren't voting. And they're especially trying to encourage young people to get involved and to understand what a difference they can make, and to share with their own friends issues that become important to them. So I just wanted to thank you for coming and encourage you to vote when you're all 18 and to get active in an important way in your communities and in your democracy, because some of us are getting older. We depend on you. So thanks. And then I wanted to make sure everybody had had a chance to sign in so that we can report who was in attendance. And then if you would like to help with signature gathering, please just make a check next to the yes box out there, because Steve has told you this is a very cumbersome process. And the legislature has made it cumbersome on purpose because they don't particularly like initiatives, because they see it as taking control away from them. And I would like you to know that we don't see initiatives as something that you should enter into very lightly either. And Utah has very few initiatives compared to some states who have really gotten into it big time. I didn't talk about the slide on the screen, it went by very fast. But we've only had 20 initiatives, and I think that includes referendum, actually, over the last 100 years. We've had very few, and it's only when that we're doing this now because of a feeling that the legislature really has not been responsive to repeated attempts on the part of citizens to get a stronger code of ethics and an independent ethics commission, and we have been overlooked. So we feel that this is a time when we really need to step forward and press our legislature, and this is the way we're doing it. And you don't have to decide at this particular moment whether you're going to vote for the actual initiative. What you have to decide is if you'll help us get it on the ballot. Because if we can't get it on the ballot, we can't give the public an opportunity to weigh in on this. So it's the signature gathering process that is so critical for us in the coming months. So there's that last slide up there. We also can use money if anybody wants to help in that regard. But we need help talking to friends, spreading the word, gathering signatures. There may be something else on here, but I swear I don't have a thumb that works. Oh, that worked. That's all. Those are all the ways that you can help. So thanks very much for coming out tonight. If you have any other questions, you can just come up and ask us up front. Thanks. Thanks to you.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming and showing some interest.